I'm Maarten Engeltjes. I'm a countertenor. I'm a singer, classical music, Baroque music. That's what I do since I was 4 years old. I sang in this boys' choir as a starter. And suddenly I heard the first opening choir of the Matthew Passion from Bach, and I was blown away, and I was deeply touched by it. It sounds very strange when I think about it, because I was 5 years old, but my mother writes in my little diary that she doesn't understand what's happening to me because I was fully taken away by this music. From that point, I started working more into the music, diving deeper into the music, and of course, at a later age, I decided to go to the conservatory in The Hague, and there I got acquainted with lots more Baroque music, and of course also the Stabat Mater of Pergolesi. In early age, one of the most famous countertenors back then, Michael Chance, sort of discovered me, and he gave me the opportunity to do a concert with him, and then my career really took off. So I traveled the world for years, basically. I'm still young, but I did a lot of things. And I sang with all the great Baroque orchestras in the great halls, great venues in the world. And very fortunate, I feel, to have been able to do that. And at a certain point, I felt that in Holland, the people were not only coming to the orchestras I was hired by, but they were coming for me. And then at a certain point, I thought, maybe it's wise to found my own orchestra around me. So that was one point that I felt that the audience was changing. And another argument was that maybe argument is not the right word, but the motivation was that I felt like the big Baroque guys like Ton Koopman, Frans Bruggen, they were getting older, and there was no one to follow up. And I suddenly realized, well, maybe that person should be me. And so I just started, and I just said on the radio, next year I will have an orchestra. And that's what happened, and now we are 5 years from that moment, and we are having quite some success. Also on the organization side, it's very tough. So it's success, and it's highs and lows, but musically and artistically there's a lot of joy and creativity. It also allows me to bring the programs I want. It sounds strange, but you start with the business side, because for some reason the other side felt natural. So I had a lot of help with the business side, because you need to have a board, you need to have a funding, you need to have all these things go in the marketing, all that stuff. And then what players do I want to play with? And then I felt it needs to be a younger generation, because all the Baroque orchestras, all the people who play in the orchestras are self-employed. So they will play until they die, basically. And so you see a lot of Baroque orchestras consisting of old people with all due respect, but different generation people. So you need to have a stage for young people, and I give that to them. And from my orchestra, you see that they sometimes fly out to the bigger orchestras. But well, at a certain point, my orchestra will be the big orchestra. So it's growing. Yeah. I thought a lot about how can we change the way we bring Baroque music, but we have changing generations, and Baroque music was done by a lot of very special Baroque specialists, but they were so much focused on the source that they forgot the entertainment side of the music, but also they forgot that the audience is not, they're not specialists, so they are searching for what is the music about. And the Stabat Mater is about a mother losing her child. She's standing at the cross, and her son is hanging there, and he's dying. So my thought was like, the essence of the emotion is a mother losing her child. And so I thought, can we connect this with literature? And I read a fantastic book, it's called Shadow Child. And it's about a father who loses his daughter, and he sees the mother. She's grieving. And he describes this in the most beautiful words ever. And so we combined this literature with this music, and suddenly the music began to live differently. And we got a lot of reactions of parents who lost their child, who were in the hall, but also young people who suddenly understood what the Stabat Mater was about. This was the starting point of Project Amsterdam, but also the way I wanted to bring programs in a different way. And 5 years later, I thought, but we can do this basically forever, because it's music for the millions, Stabat Mater. People love it. And there are a lot of books written about this subject. So we can do this more and more. And so we did it one time extra last year. And after this, I thought, I have to record it. It's the energetic experience was so great. That's the great thing about music. It's alive, and yet it's very fleeing. So you also want to have some sort of souvenir for yourself to catch the moment. And well, yeah, so this whole being in love with the scores again was, I hope we captured that on the album. I spoke a lot with the writer, and of course you think about how to do this. And we basically came to the point that we said less is more. So we kept it very simple. We put him on a nice sofa in front of the stage, and the orchestra was basically surrounding him, so he was inside the orchestra. And we chose 3 spots, so he read as an upbeat to the Stabat Mater, so he opened the concert. The first passage he reads, he ends with a man who loses his wife is a widower. A wife who loses her man is a widow. But how do they call the parents of a lost child? And then, because it's so deep that there's no words for it. People in literature, there's no words for it. So deep is the pain. And then we started the Stabat Mater. And then this was amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And there is a in the middle of the Stabat Mater there is Ea Mater, which zooms in on the pain of the mother. And we chose a part of the book which is called Pietà, where he sees, it's very emotional, where he sees his own wife with her child, and he writes about that. And so we chose that part that he spoke about that before the Ea Mater. And then at the end of the piece we have Quando corpus morietur, when my body dies, please grant me paradise. It's a text in the Stabat Mater. And before that he took a part of the book which where he speaks about that he lost his father, and that his father taught him how to listen to birds and to the world, and that suddenly he didn't know how to listen anymore. So basically he was speaking about death in general and how he for the first time perceived it, but this time he experienced death in such a different way. Anyways, and then we started with the Quando corpus morietur, which was, it's huge. It's very deep. Yeah. It's very heavy. But this is what the music is about. People in the Baroque era, they had such different lives than we had. There was no antibiotics. They lived in a constant pandemic. They lost people all over. When you were 45, it was basically considered old age. Bach lost his parents when he was 10 and 12. Then he lost 11 children, and he lost his first wife. Can you imagine? So these people were surrounded by death and misery all the time. So we perceive this as like, wow, but it's how they, it's how they, how do you say, it's their souls. You hear their souls in this music. It's very deep, yeah. So yeah, it's a different age, yeah. This was back then also part of the program, okay. And it's just this piece doesn't how do you say it's not very much linked to the theme, but it's about it's an Old Testamentic text, so the text is not really fitting. But on the other hand, it's the power of the music is very strong. And Vivaldi is well, how do you say, it's really applicable to Pergolesi. They were in the same atmosphere, they were in the same country. I mean, when you travel and you listen to music, you really understand why Bach wrote different music than Vivaldi. I mean, climate is super influential to how you start behaving and how you open up and how you start to think. And Vivaldi and Pergolesi they are it's brilliant music. It shines, and it's less deep philosophical like Bach is. You know what I mean? So so the musical styles are really fitting. And you have the famous Cum Dederit. You know have you heard it? It's used also in James Bond movies, and it's a very famous piece. Yeah. So it's also, you also have to think about the expression you give to the audience. So, yeah. We sang a Handel production here in Holland with the Radio Philharmonic Orchestra, and she has a very, how do you say, it's a very beautiful voice with a sort of innocence in it, and she's still very young, but for some reason it touched me, and I do these things very intuitively. I mean, yeah, your gut feeling is always right in these things, and also there's a strange thing amongst musicians that with some great musicians you cannot find the synchronization, and with some others you can. So basically you speak the same language. It's the way people are wired or some way or something, and we were wired the same way. So her voice touched me, her musicality touched me, but also you feel that you synchronize in the way you breathe, in the way you ornament, in the way you make the phrases. So these things are all intuitively, but that's why you choose someone. Polyhymnia is of course one of the best, and we love working with them. And Karel Bruggeman is the tonemeister here. He has the fantastic ears, and when we work together we have to be careful that we don't dive into the microverse, you know. Yeah, you can do that, but Karel and I, we have this tendency to sometimes go too far, and we love that. So it's like friends. And Pentatone is new. It's our first album we record here, and we like it very much. I must say, I feel that their distribution is really nice, and they have a very professional team, very friendly, very open. So I'm looking forward to work more with them.